Whoa! Hey there fellow watchers and welcome to TheBoobTube. And today we are doing yet another Patreon request, and to be honest with you, I am really excited about it. And mostly because my hard work is starting to pay off. Now as you know, on my Patreon page I am open to review any types of short film or web series on YouTube for the low price of $25. And lo and behold, that certain someone decided to take up that offer. And even though he wants to stay anonymous about this, I personally want to say thank you very much for doing so. It really comes to show that people like you out there are very interested in what I have to say, doing a very unique genre in reviewing these types of things. Now with that said, let's talk about Spider-Man. From comics to television to movies, Spider-Man has always been the go-to superhero in Marvel Comics. And with that huge popularity, of course everyone with a camera and access to the internet will make their own unique fan film about it. And in case you guys missed the title, this episode is going to review 3 Spider-Man fan films. The reason is that one of my personal rules is that I personally like to review a video that has at least 20 minutes or more. Because anything less than that, I pretty much don't have anything to work with, to be honest with you. And the video that this patron requested is just a little over 7 minutes long. But I really didn't want to disappoint him, which is why I came up with a solution for him to choose a few more videos, which will increase the time limit and have a variety of things for me to work on. Hey, if I can get through 17 episodes of Horny Tony, I'm sure I can manage something as simple as this. So he decided to add 2 more videos to the pile, making the grand total to 35 minutes. Not bad. It's pretty obvious that this patron is a huge Spider-Man fan, which is why 3 of his videos revolve around 2 characters of the franchise, Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy, or Spider-Gwen. Yeah, this is a little bit of a confusing one for me, mostly because I never really paid attention to the Spider-Man franchise to begin with, other than the TV shows and the movies, but I don't have any clue as to the brief short stories of these 2 characters. Considering that Marvel Comics has come out with more spin-off titles of Spider-Man than the X-Men put together. So I'm going to let my friendly neighborhood Quillsniv to explain these 2 characters. Mr. Quillsniv, are you ready?
Sure am.
Explain these 2. Go!
Miles Morales is the Spider-Man of the Ultimate Universe, Earth 1610. He was created in 2011 by Brian Michael Bendis for the comic after Peter Parker, the original Spider-Man of the Ultimate Universe, died a year prior. Miles possessed all the powers of the original Spider-Man, with some new powers to boot. He had the ability to blend into his surroundings as well as create a blast of venomous energy dubbed, well, the Venom Blast. Oh, and he's half African American and half Latino, which is the main reason people keep hailing him as the best Spider-Man ever for some reason. In Jonathan Hickman's 2015 event, Secret Wars, Miles was moved from the destroyed Ultimate Universe to the new mainstream Marvel Universe, dubbed Earth Prime. Due to the inconsistency between Brian Michael Bendis' own works and other writers, as well as editorial mishaps, he does or doesn't have memories of his life from the previous Earth, but how he fits into the new Earth Prime is still unexplained. Miles is a character that works best, in my opinion, in his own universe, which is admittedly in Elseworlds. Until Secret Wars, I was at worst indifferent to him and liked him for the most part as a legacy character. But at times, his Venom Blast was mostly a plot convenience, an insta-win button, and he won the respect of the other heroes of the Ultimate Universe a little too quickly, especially when you consider that he was appropriating the costume of a dead person who never really earned the respect of his fellow capes that Miles did. And once he came to the mainstream Marvel Universe, where there already was a Spider-Man, the adult Peter Parker, Miles became kind of redundant, because he works best as a person after having to take up a lost mantle. Spider-Gwen, however, is a completely different story. Created by a joint team of writers for Dan Slott's Spider-Verse event, Spider-Woman, known by the editorial name Radioactive Spider-Gwen, is the Gwen Stacy of Earth 65, where she was bitten by the radioactive spider instead of Peter. This, combined with the bullying brought on against him, led to Peter transforming himself into the Lizard and dying in Gwen's arms. This was her Uncle Ben moment, as well as the reason for the hatred against Spider-Woman. After Spider-Verse, which was a pretty shoddy event that involved people jumping from Elseworld to Elseworld, Gwen received her own ongoing comic, which was pretty successful and, in my opinion, incredibly good. After the same event that put Miles in Earth Prime, Secret Wars, Spider-Gwen made a comeback and has had an ongoing that is still kicking 2 years later. Again, like Miles, she works best as an Elseworlds character, but for some reason editorial demands that she constantly keeps getting shoved into the main Marvel U for some reason. Because screw worldbuilding, we can just put her in a universe that has 5 Spider characters too many.
Wow, that was not bad. Thanks, man.
No problem. Thanks for your obligatory cameo.
Alright, let's get this gauntlet underway. First up is SpiderMan Lives, a Miles Morales story. From Bard Tales Productions, the story entails Miles finding the courage to put on the mask and becoming Spider-Man. Well, that's pretty straightforward to me. Let's have a look at fanfic video number 1. The story begins with a memorial of various Spider-Man stuff as the Morales family watches the news over dinner. The father says that despite what the news says, Spider-Man was just another freak in a costume, mostly because that he was complaining that he still sees 14-year-olds hustling drugs on the street corner, and that Spider-Man was nowhere to be seen catching common crooks.
Why didn't he help us fight it? You ask me? He was a menace.
Or maybe it's just because Spider-Man just so happens to live in one of the largest cities in America, and you expect him to fight every single crime? Spider-Man may be a superhero, but as the first cinematic version of Aunt May once said,
"You're not Superman, you know."
Exactly. So later that night, Miles goes to the memorial telling the late Spider-Man that he cannot do the things that he does all the time. That's when his newfound powers kick in as he hears some fake footsteps from this girl who overacts the shit out of her scenes until she is cornered by a group of thugs. But with the power of After Effects, she tries to take a swing at the ringleader, but doesn't work out too well for her. Until Miles intervenes and the boss is impressed by his unique powers, while delivering his typical bad guy spiel to him.
You know who I am, Grub? I own these streets. I have every corner of this burn. I keep getting more every day, hopping from one corner to the next. Hop, hop, hop.
The hipping to the hip hop. You don't stop the rocket to the bang boogie. Say up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie, the beat.
Miles takes on the thugs, beating them down one by one with cheap sound effects, and stuns the crap out of the boss, and is later taken in by the police. The video ends with Miles overlooking the city with his new Spotty costume. And that's pretty much it. And I do gotta say that...
We have a curfew, young man. I don't want to hear it.
Oh, an epilogue? Alright.
Your school's new principal called when you were out last night doing whatever. Mr. Fury?
Yeah, this video isn't really that good to begin with. The editing, special effects, and post-production work were decent enough, but it tends to get overshadowed by the very bland acting and the loud music that is in here. The guy who delivered the role as Miles pretty much was not that good to begin with, and his jokes were really generic to say the least. I will commend these people with the effort that they put in here, which is why this is a pretty generic 2 out of 5 in my opinion. Now on to the fanfic video of Spider-Gwen. From amateur filmmaker Brandon Medina, it is a sequel to his Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man fan film video, which is over an hour long. Too bad that my patron didn't request this one instead. Anywho, let's take a look into the short flick. The video starts with this guy wandering down a back alley until he enters what appears to be the back of a hotel room, only to see a man coughing on a table. Turns out that this guy is actually Norman Osborn, who came back from the dead from the first fan film, and the person who discovered him just so happens to be his son Harry Osborn, who is shocked to see him alive again. And throughout the awkward camera close-ups, the unexpected in and out blurs, and weird camera movements, Norman tells Harry that he is dying. Again. And he wants Harry to help him get Spider-Man's blood for a transfusion so he could live again. And you can tell how serious he is by channeling his over-the-top bad guy voice.
Quit lying to yourself, boy! Don't lie to yourself, boy! Show Parker what you're made of! I'll think about it.
You have to stop Spider-Man, don't you see? Do you know how much I sacrificed?
Wow, not even Willem Dafoe was this cringy when he played the Goblin. So as Harry ponders about this, we cut to Spider-Man, who is tied up and held captive by a half-naked, bushy-haired Topher Grace, who takes his blood from him to give to Osborn. As Spider-Man wiggles out of his untied knot, Norman gets to his brain's home security system and activates something from the chamber.
Spider-Man, it seems you've met your match.
You pestered me as Spider-Man!
The chamber releases a woman who wanders the dark hallways for a way to escape. She play fights with a few goons with duct tape masks, until killing them and comes across more goons with surgical masks, whom she kills, and stumbles into what appears to be the janitor's closet, and coincidentally finds an already pre-made outfit that fits her perfectly. She starts picking a fight with Spidey, and they both decide to fight the last goon inside the community college building.
Go!
It is revealed that this mysterious spider lady is in fact Gwen Stacy. Shocking! And Spidey takes off his mask to help her remember him.
It's me, Peter.
Sorry, Peter. I'm not the woman you think I am. I'm an artificial clone.
Oh really? Do freshly made artificial clones also come out of the tube with freshly made tattoos and finished polished nails? Seriously, you guys, you could have easily covered that stuff up. Anywho, they give each other a hug and go their separate ways. This film is clearly someone's pet project from college, the way it was shot and the areas that they filmed. With that said, there are so many things that are wrong with this. From the numerous plot holes of bad guys just unexpectedly showing up and leaving at the same time, not to mention the multitude of odd things that also go on in here, which doesn't really make any sense. This video is without a doubt a 1 out of 5. And now moving on to our final video for this episode, the patron's very first request and final video. Miles Morales, Final Days. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little underwhelmed at this point.
Some days are pretty easy. And some days start off with a villain from another universe coming to kill you because you're Spider-Man. That's the dude I was talking about. Superhero landing. Deadpool will be so proud of me right now.
Good timing, nice editing, a Miles Morales that is actually funny. Well, it would appear that he just saved the best for last for me. So in this video, Miles fights Morlun, an immortal soul sucker, who gets the upper hand on the hero when suddenly...
Let's not add sexism to your long list of reasons to get punched, Morlun. You'll become even more of a walking cliche.
We apparently get ourselves a team-up from Spider-Gwen with a much better looking costume. So Miles and Gwen tussle against Morlun until he gets the upper hand again and insults Miles with some name-calling. Until Miles creates some sort of spectacular force field bomb which takes out Morlun and renders Miles unconscious. He wakes up sometime later to see Spider-Gwen, who recruits him for some kind of spider war. And that's pretty much the end of that. And to be honest with you, I'm quite surprised how well this one is in comparison to the other previous two that I just saw. You can clearly tell that someone put a lot of heart and effort into this, and it clearly shows. Apart from a few minor editing flubs, this is, without a doubt, a near-perfect short film. Near perfect. Or at the very least, the very best Spidey short fanfic that I have seen so far. And with that said, this concludes the Patreon request for this month. Now if you'll excuse me, June is right around the corner, and I got an air conditioner that needs to be fixing. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all next time on the BoobTube. You know, I have to admit, you have the oddest places for a meetup. So I take it those magic rings are doing well for you? What are they supposed to combat? Some sort of disease that you have?
What did I tell you about asking about my past? Don't. You did well, Magsago.
Cock!
But our work has only just begun.
What is that supposed to mean? You sense some sort of great disturbance in the force or something?
There is a rift happening right now, and we must take advantage of this opportunity.
Now you're talking. So, who are we gonna kill?
No one, yet. But we do need allies for the war that is to come.
A recruitment drive, eh? I can get down for that.